What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Spectator Mode, episode 50. Yep, we're at 50. I didn't think we'd get to 50, but we are. Matt, are you okay?
I'm alive.
Okay.
I'm just surprised. I'm surprised the major changes we had to this podcast. One, clearly, Karl is the #1 Capcom Pro Tour champion, and he's repping the Bullet Club.
Wait,
the only club that
how does
matters.
How does that work? They're not in Street Fighter.
They will be. They're in Tekken.
In due time.
In due time, trust me. I would love. All joke aside, I would love if more people put more Bullet Club stuff in general in video games. They're just such a great. It's a cool faction, but they're not the #1 faction Japan. And they're cool. They actually.
All right. Let's keep this on. Let's keep this on topic. So I'm Keith Mitchell. I shouldn't have to explain this every week, but okay. To the right of me is Rob. Below me is Mace, and that guy over there talking Street Fighter nonsense is Matt.
Nonsense.
Welcome back.
That's true. Thank you.
You keep saying Street Fighter is garbage.
No, it's a bad game. Garbage is what I showed you. Power Rangers playing.
Oh God, I was laughing.
Now you believe me, it's a Kasou game, right?
I was laughing.
You got to believe me. That game is pretty redonkulous.
Oh God, yeah. All right, guys. So we got a bunch of topics to talk about tonight. Possible pricing for the Xbox Series X, and PlayStation 5 going to the $500 range because of parts. Nintendo and apparently the Call of Duty leaker got caught. I got stuff to talk about leaks and people who do that. I really won't say. I won't be rude, but you know, Activision yanking their stuff off of GeForce Now. We kind of figured some companies were going to do that, and I was singing the praises of this service last week. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about what happened and what they can do going forth. And I think we're going to do something impromptu here because Matt has some couple of topics he wants to talk about. So yeah. We'll do that. But first and foremost, every beginning of the show, we talk about games that we played this week. I'm actually going to go first this week because I'm excited. You know that Oculus Rift S that I had in my room forever? I opened it.
You brought it out. Oh,
you ruined its collector's value.
I've been doing nothing but playing Beat Saber, the boxing VR game, which is a lot of fun. It definitely kicks your ass. I've been doing the 25 and 30-minute sessions. But it's a good workout.
Especially that Beat Saber's a workout and a half in itself too.
I downloaded some custom songs and I did one of the anime songs. It was Ignition, one of the openings for a Sword Art Online Elysiation.
Oh God! I thought you meant Ignition from Mr. I Didn't Touch Those Girls Kelly. That's all I can say.
Who? I don't know who that guy is.
No one knows exactly. He's some musician.
Yeah, that'd
be an interesting one for Beat Saber. I feel like.
Oh God, no.
That song kicked my ass. But yeah, those are. I'm gonna put a piece together on exercising in VR and video games because that. I think the first time I played it, my first session was about 2 hours. An hour in, I was already sweating. It was like, wow, this is crazy.
I see videos of people playing that thing, like multi-camera setup, green screen an entire fucking room. And
crazy, man.
I'm like going, you guys got to have like some sort of hype up on speed or something to run that the direction of the flailing and jumping around and all that.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's crazy. It's crazy. There was one song.
I'd be gassed.
There was one song where it was just literally nonstop, and it's like up, down, left, right, up, down. I'm like, okay, this is crazy.
Yeah, and then you got to dodge other shit in it too, and it's like
it's
I'm
fun.
Like, man, I'd be blown up quicker than the Ultimate Warrior.
I loved it because it's been cold here the last couple of days and raining, so I couldn't really go outside and do my walks. So this has been helping me a lot. I'm really enjoying it so far. Other than that, I've been playing the Bleeding Edge beta. The closest thing that what I can say about this is it is a lot of fun. I think the game still has some issues they need to work around. But I like the systems in place. I love the fact that they incorporate the ping system, which you saw in Apex Legends. It feels definitely like Overwatch. You have your team-based combat. You also have your position. So you got your support. You've got your tank. You've got your DPS. The combat is enjoyable. Specials are enjoyable. I think the game is fun. However, the problem that I have is the same issue I've had with Overwatch. In the very beginning, people don't pick roles to accommodate their teams. There's one time I've got all DPS. I've got one tank in all DPS. Nobody wants to run the healer. Nobody wants to run the healer. People are running in, going after like 4 versus 1. They're not looking at the compositions whatsoever. They're trying to single man it. If they're getting their butt beat, they're not trying to pull out and retreat. They're just diving back into the people. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I think the problem with a lot of these team shooters, which essentially teach you teamwork, is that the players who play these games are just effing idiots. It makes you upset. Like Karl and I can tell you horror stories of us yelling into the mic, "Get into my healing! I'm trying to heal you." They just run off.
Yeah, it's pretty much what's happening.
And it makes me upset because these games are trying so hard to heavy-hand teach people to play together, and they don't. I just personally think that, in a psychology standpoint of team-based games, I blame that majority of the games that came out during these people play the time period were like World of Warcraft and etc. or such single-player experiences that they've learned to take this social aspect of gaming and throw it out the window, even though games are trying to bring that back now.
Yeah, but you can't change people's mindset.
You can't change,
if they don't want to play a team-based game, but they're playing a team-based
game. Exactly.
Why are you here?
Exactly.
So that's the major issue I had with that game. Hopefully they figure it out, or at least force you to pick roles. I know people aren't a big fan of that, but there's 0 point of coming to a game, seeing all DPS, and they're like, we're never going to win this game, and just leave, and then you get penalized for leaving. So that's dumb.
Exactly. It makes me super upset because it's like these games like Overwatch, Division, and some other Rainbow Six games look really good at high level gameplay, and that's what upsets me. It's like watching these at high level, mid level, these big brain plays, this compact teamwork. Man, I want to experience that. Go online, bunch of goddamn Johnny Donuts don't know what they're doing.
Oh god! But other than that, that's been it. Again, my entire week has been Oculus Rift, and I've been enjoying it. So yeah, it took me this long to take it out of the box, but I'm glad I have. Rob, you're next. What you been playing, man?
So not much. I actually got invited to the next flight for Master Chief Collection on PC.
Oh, I'm jealous. Wait, weren't you in the first one?
I was in the first one for Reach, yeah. So that was great, and I played a ton of that game, and it was super fun. They just put out the invites earlier this week for the next flight. Basically, there's added functionality to Reach as well as just some bounce fixes. They actually ended up fixing the crouching issue that they had, which was really weird.
Did they fix audio yet?
I don't know, because it's like there's not a lot of people complaining about it, and I don't personally see an issue with it. And so, like, I haven't recognized anybody else going around saying that there's a mix issue. I don't really notice one, so I can't speak to it, you know?
It was really bothering me. It put me off so hard.
Yeah, but the big part of the latest flight is that the Combat Evolved is coming. So there's the flight is mainly focused on Combat Evolved multiplayer. So there's a lot of that going around, and man, coming back to that game is weird and strange and fun at the same time. But God, it like you go directly from Reach, which is like the last Bungie game that made it. Last Bungie made Halo game, so it feels nice. It's all well dialed in, and it's super fun to play. And then you go back to Combat Evolved, the first one they ever made, and it is clunky, it is slow, and it's just like it's and it's not because of them putting it on the Master Chief Collection. It just is from 2001, and you can tell when you start playing it. You compare it to Reach, and it's just like oof. It doesn't age very well. It does age well in some aspects, but a lot of it is just oof. And that Magnum that kills people in like 4 hits. It's insane. But yeah, I've been playing that a lot, and it was fun. It's just an experience because you tend to forget how these old games play the longer you are away from them.
Yep.
And you come back to it for the first time, and it's just like, ooh, that's how it was.
That's how it was.
Is it just a port? Yeah. Oh gosh,
Nostalgia. Sometimes it's not a good thing.
Yeah, but that was the majority of my stuff playing. I think I hopped into Destiny 2 for like a little bit, but that was really it.
What about you, man?
Me, I haven't played as much. I've mostly been playing some new Slay Spire, trying to get the Watcher down. I had some fun trying some new decks like Scry into Nirvana, Divinity sets. I played some Hades, obviously, it's my crack right now. I played a lot of Grand Blue Fantasy. And watching content for that game. It's really good. I think it will be the bridge for if people give it a chance, the bridge for people who play Capcom games to finally see why anime is superior. It's just it does everything a Capcom game does and anime physics to it. There's even a lot of in-depth mechanics, such as if you jump and hold block in the air, you actually affect how well you jump, making your fuzzies good or your fuzzies better, or your aerial mix-ups. So I think that's pretty fun. And I've been playing a lot of I want to say on the phone, my mobile phone, outside of Brawl Stars. I've been playing this new game, Mana Strife by Magic. It's just a tower rush game. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Mana Strike. It's pretty fun.
I've never heard of it. Who makes that?
Netnormal. They also make the Star Wars card game. I looked them up. So
the MOBA company, right?
I think so. Yeah.
The mobile game company. The mobile game company.
Yeah.
Same one that does the Marvel game.
Yep, and the Star Wars game, I believe. Yeah.
That's it.
Yep, that's it. That's all.
Wow.
Just trust me. I kept myself pretty lean today for games to play this week.
It's up to you, Carl. You got to make it go longer than 10 minutes. What have you been playing?
It's longer than 10 minutes.
Longer than 10 minutes. To be honest, I've only been playing a few bits and pieces here and there. I've been playing Street Fighter V Championship Edition because
wait, Matt, get him.
Are you playing the cheap people? Are you playing it because Seth has boobs now?
No.
Oh, thank God.
I'm playing for the fact that I promised the guys over at Capcom that I give it an updated review. Considering we've hit that point where they've decided to add enough shit to it that's like a lot different than the original Street Fighter V we reviewed back in the day.
Yeah.
And pretty much argued over back in the day too. But I've sort of just been catching up on other bits and pieces around the way. Still playing a little bit of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot just to keep going with that.
You haven't beat that yet?
No, I'm taking my time. Now that I've done the review, I'm chilling with it. I'm waiting for DLC to come out.
Let me stop you. So how do you feel about Team 4-Star giving up on Dragon Ball Abridged?
Oh, I saw the video. I hated the video because it didn't really tell much. All I could pick up on it was, I've been doing it for 11 years. We have other projects we're going to do. We're still going to finish the Final Fantasy thing, blah, blah, blah. It took so much time. We learned we had to do things professionally, which sounds like a cheap cop-out. It's like, it stopped being fun when it became a job. I'm like, everything is stopped fun when it becomes a job, my friend. That's growing up. But anyway, I didn't like the video. It was like a whole bunch of air of nothing. And they keep saying they have a bunch of projects. It wasn't fun, blah, blah. It's hard to keep in touch with some people. Maybe certain people couldn't work the project or the way they commitment, blah, blah, blah. But with all these future projects they keep mentioning, I heard nothing of it. There's no anything of it. So in my opinion, I don't know. But no more Team 4-Star memes. That's all I can say.
I'm really sad. I am sad.
10 plus years and you give up. Classic.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I understand it. It's a lot of work. You know, they have to go and redo frames at times. They have to go and record, keep the voices on point and everything else. Have the overall story arc. If they're having, I'm not buying so much that they're having burnout.
Yeah, exactly.
As more, this was a business decision. One of the biggest things that I took away from the initial post that was put out on the Patreon, was that one, they're getting sick of having to combat the strikes on YouTube.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised if next time all of those episodes suddenly disappear from YouTube. They're not coming back.
They said they're going to keep it up and demonetize it. I'm like,
yeah, but bullshit. The second it gets hit, they'll take it down.
So you're trying to say I should archive that shit now?
Yes, do like I did. I've archived every episode. Basically, the other thing that sort of got me interested too was the fact that they said that because of doing Dragon Ball Z Abridged, they have strained a lot of relationships. I have a feeling that they've been approached by companies going, if you stop Dragon Ball Abridged, we'll give you paid work in the anime industry.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
And that's really what it sounded like. It's not sounding like more of we were burnt out. It's we are dropping this because it's costing us business. And we want to make sure that we will keep our business going. And frankly, they're going to learn very quickly how many people were just supporting them for Dragon Ball Abridged.
Basically, I feel like too is like again they mentioned future projects or anything about it. I mean they're gonna finish the Final Fantasy series, and I scratched my head about it. Is like they mentioned like it was hard to contact people blah blah working on it. My personal take of it is that if they were getting blackballed or blacklisted by the anime industry, which I'll probably mention in the A1 podcast when we had that episode talk about it, I think that if they were getting blackballed, similar to the guys who make people who are making money off the hentai industry blackballed, you can just stop caring because your fan base will protect you if you get blackballed. In some instances, like the guy who like Faku, people know that the guy made Faku technically turned a free Dojin site into cash, and he got blackballed by the hentai community because of that. But money came in, so
yeah. All right.
But anyway, back to the video games. I booted Grand Theft Auto 5 back up. You can't really see it because of my green screen.
Oh, man.
I booted Grand Theft Auto 5 back up the other day, both on PS3 and PS4, just to see the difference in online. Like with the PS4 version now, you've got like multiple heists, you've got the casino and everything else, and it's a really big fleshed out game. I can understand now, like we were talking about last week with Rockstar wanting to funnel their money into that rather than Grand Theft Auto 6. I understand that now. The difference going back onto the PS3 is that they basically got the first round of heists, and that's it. Those servers are I wouldn't say a wasteland, but you definitely get two choices. You either get Wasteland, where there's barely anybody on the session, or you get the Modder's Paradise, which is all the hacks and mods that have been put into this thing. And like you don't even need to mod your PS3 or anything to get these. Like they are server done now. So you walk in there, all of a sudden my money just started going ching, 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 and I'm like, I need to get out of here now before I get banned. So that was that particular. But I sort of have a bit of a theme with the other three things I've been playing over the last. Well, I played them last weekend and throughout the week as well. Legends of Wrestling 2. WWE 2K20. Can you tell what the theme is?
PlayStation 2 games?
No. Glitchy wrestling titles.
Oh.
Because people go on and on about WWE 2K20 and how glitched it is. And to be honest, the patches that they've got through now have actually got it to the point where it's starting to get very stable and actually playable. The old Legends of Wrestling games, man, they were the original glitch fests. Like I at one point I played a match against Abdul the Butcher. He came out with no head. Another one, all of a sudden, playing a cage match against Hogan, and all of a sudden Hogan went to go and grab the side of the cage and he just floated up into the sky, never to return. He went back home to his people. But it's like
that doesn't sound like a glitch. That sounds like an actual thing that happened.
But like those games in particular, Legends of Wrestling ones, are just so glitchy that's hilarious. But yeah, like going into WWE 2K20, there's still some differences in it that I'm not happy about. And it is still not a perfect game at this point. 7
it's
patches
far
in.
from perfect. It's still messed up.
But they're seventh big patch now, and they've just released their final DLC pack for it, which was the Southpaw Wrestling pack, which is hilariously 80s, by the way. Loved it.
Whoa, so Bobby Eaton's in the game, got Stan Lane, Midnight Express. Is that 80s?
No, not 80s in the characters, but more like 80s in the fashion and the neon lights and all that.
I'm about to say, like, we're going the Jim Crockett days. He bought, by the way.
Oh no, we're going almost like low levels of neon in this thing, man. Wrestlicious style, man. But like the game itself is getting there. It's stable. I reckon if they just put out one, maybe two more big patches to squash the last of it, it'll actually be stable enough that I'd be willing to do a review. But at this point, I'm still sitting there on. I'm not ready to give this thing any type of real score yet. Like I put that article out when it was released, stating that we're not going to review this until it's stable, and we're still like, it came out in October. We're in February now, so what's that? 4 months?
Too long.
Roughly.
And 4 months. 4
surprised they
months.
haven't
They've
dropped
already
it.
dropped. 4 months. They've
Oh, they
dropped
can't.
all
They
the
can't.
DLC. Well, that's the thing. They've just released the last of the DLC. So, you'd figure by this point they would have tried to have had it stable, because this is usually the point where they start working on the next title. So it'll be interesting to see if they do support it from here on out, if they are willing to sort of put the extra effort in to make this stable till like October this year, when they'll start putting out 2K21. Or
You
whether they're
think
going to
they're
skip.
going to put out 21? Yeah, I think they're going to skip.
I don't. Logic would dictate that they should skip. They should skip 21 and come back with 22 when they've really worked on the engine properly, fix up their graphical problems and everything else. Because when Ukes up and left these guys, oh my god, they had to start everything over from scratch, and you could tell like this was a rushed product. But I reckon give them an extra 12 months to work with the software and everything else, you'll be getting a decent product next year, like in 2K22. But that's if they decide to go that route.
All right. Other than that, you done? You put us over the 10-minute mark, so yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I guess. I just set up, as you could probably. I don't know if you can really tell much, but like the fact that I'm actually using the green screen, I actually set up my office again. I now have all my consoles sitting here.
I can't see the green screens blocking everything. I can see stuff.
Yeah. You see stuff
there?
over there on the side here. On my, like that's only about a fifth of like what's the actual shelving here is like. And I don't know if you can see it right on the end. There's my Super Nintendo. So
I see something. All right. I'm not going to go in order with the topics because I think the Lakes one we'll be talking about that for a while. So let me take it from the top. Rob, that's marked these things. So 22.15. So there's been some talk about the PlayStation 5 possibly having some problems with its pricing. Bloomberg has reported that Sony's having a problem getting the parts he needs, and that it's going to possibly drive up the cost of the console, which duh, it don't even make sense, right? So the problem with the PlayStation 5 right now is outside of the parts issue, they're playing this really terrible game that they played at the beginning of this generation with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and letting Microsoft go first to dictate the pricing, and then Sony will come back and go, all right, our system is now cheaper than your system. It's $100 less. Microsoft right now has not made any announcements of how much the Xbox Series X is going to cost. And of course, Sony is playing the same gaming game, waiting to see how much Microsoft is going to charge for this system. So history is not going to repeat itself because Microsoft is probably going, yeah, we're not doing that again.
Microsoft will probably come out, give us a release date, and then go pricing to be announced near release.
And then when that happens, we'll have another Sony apocalypse. So let's
see, here's the thing. I mean, there's not really much we could say about the parts other than what they said. It's going to drive up the cost of the system. Again, we all knew that. But here's the problem that I have.
Which parts in particular?
They haven't stated. It looks like it may be the RAM.
They said it was mostly due to temporary like RAM and all that stuff. Yeah.
So in other words, the same bullshit that's pushing up prices for PC. In other words.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, it happened a couple years ago, right? With just PCs in general.
Yeah.
RAM prices went way up.
It's been happening. It's been happening for the last couple of years, and even the market now on RAM is still a lot higher than it should be.
Yeah.
And
but it's worse for these consoles because they're using DDR5, so it's even worse for that.
So it's safe to say it's the RAM processing or the market RAM, whatever the term is overvalued.
I wouldn't say overvalued. I mean, nothing really uses DDR5 and DDR6 other than video cards and the consoles. Right. PC still hasn't moved over to that. High-end PCs like servers and whatnot, DDR5, yes, but consumer level stuff, no. So
I feel that's kind of the definition of overvalued, where only a niche people use it, you're tracking it off, like whatever.
The problem again is it costs so much to make, and then you have the shortage of resources, so you can't make enough. And then when you got Sony and Microsoft both going after the same memory because their systems are similar, you got your supply and demand issue.
Sounds like PS3 all over again.
But the problem with this is this is the thing I had with this. So again, Sony's waiting for Microsoft to announce the price, and this can go one of two ways. Microsoft can come on and go, we know you're waiting. you all think we're going to sell this thing for $499. We're going to sell for $399. That leaves Sony in a really weird position. Either you undercut Microsoft, which they're not going to do. They come in at the same price as Microsoft, which might be a problem, or because of the resources. And this could also affect Microsoft. They come in at the $499 point. Here's the thing going into the next generation that people don't understand, or maybe they don't want to acknowledge. When it comes to the grand scheme of things, Microsoft does not care. They have money to spare and then some. They are not bleeding money like Sony is. Sony's doing great with PlayStation, but that's all they have. Their TVs don't sell well. Their entire electronics line has been going downhill for years. And I'm not here to bash them. I'm just spitting facts. Microsoft has Azure. They have Windows. They have SQL Server. They own GitHub. They work with Linux now. They have so many things right now. They've got the Surface line. They don't care. If Microsoft had to, they would sell their stuff for $399. They know they will lose money on the hardware side of things, but they'll get it back on the software side of things.
Then why don't you just stick with that then if they don't care so much? I mean, this. I always hate that. I've always hate that effing argument because it's one of arrogance, and two, it doesn't understand. Like, even though you have other markets you're doing, doesn't mean you're dominating those markets.
You don't have to dominate it though. That's the thing. If you have the capital,
that's the problem with that argument. You are assuming whilst they are chain de la creme, the greatest of all time. No, my opinion is they have many multiple markets, and the more markets they're in, the more they hurt themselves because they're not specialized. They're just there. It's like a movie theater. If you're a movie theater that only promotes action movies, you have a guaranteed fix of having the best action movies on the mail out every day. If you sell 6 other type of movies, well, you're gonna have to start balancing some things. And not all clowns can juggle.
I would disagree.
You can disagree if you want, but not all clowns can juggle.
No, I hate clowns. Fuck clowns.
Exactly. Not all clowns can juggle.
I hate clowns. No, I'm just saying with that argument, they have money.
I'm aware of it, but they're
not fighting to stay afloat. They don't care. The Xbox brand,
and by not caring, they should just sell the cheapest product they can sell,
and they may
just crush the other guy. That's
we
what
don't know.
does.
We don't know what to do. They might do that, and it's funny you said Walmart because I had a conversation with my wife about that today because the Sears in our area is closing, and she was like, "Why are they closing?" Because they haven't evolved. They haven't tried to fight online stores. Amazon's kicking their ass. Walmart's the only store that I've seen so far that looked at Amazon as a real threat and go, you know what? We need to lower our prices. We need to change the way we do things because if we don't, they're going to take us out as well.
Well, all the general department store, Meta, Sears, Kmart, who else? Macy's. All those guys have been dying since like the internet. So they're done. They're dinosaurs. They're done. They've been done. They can do whatever they want, but they've been done. But
the other thing that factors into a lot of this too is, and this is the other thing that I noticed from the article was maybe Sony could be willing to take a loss and make it up with the use of PlayStation Now, because you've got the one you've got. No, here's the thing: you've got their services. Well, not so much PlayStation Now. I mean PlayStation Plus. Sorry. Like these consoles require now
you mean Plus? You keep saying
Plus. Now. Sorry, brain, no work. Good. Okay. Basically, they require these subscription services in order to access your online market. So to play your games online and everything else, you're required to pay the subscription. That's where they're going to try and make their money back. Like you look at Microsoft. They can do it hand over fist because they've got, not only do you need at least gold to start playing games online, but they've also got the Ultimate Game Pass as well, which they're making money hand over fist on that. So, there are ways to recoup your losses through other means and sell the hardware at a cheaper price.
Oh, I agree. I think going back to the argument when I was saying they could sell it for as low as they want to, the thing is, do we really want to?
I mean, why not?
In Microsoft stance, they have to.
To be honest, if they sell it for any more expense than what they did this previous generation, people are going to kick up a shit.
Probably, yeah.
Previous generation. I don't know what it was like for you guys. What was it? $299 for you guys, wasn't it?
It started at $400, right?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Which one are you talking
okay,
about?
here, we'll just go
Down under.
PS4. Why not?
Yeah, PS4 is $399.
Yeah, PS4 is $399. So that was about $750 here in Australia. If they decide to drop it at say $499 or something like that, where this now pushes it nearly into the $900 mark for myself. That's where a lot of people outside of the US are going to start going, maybe we don't need a console this generation. Maybe I'll just go back to playing what I have.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember
and if they drop it at the same price, they might think, okay, yeah, all right, that seems to be standard. Let's run it like that. If they do it cheaper, they'll go, hell yeah, let's do it, and then realize
there's so many factors there. There's so many factors that it doesn't help.
And pointing out, let's say go the cheaper route. I mean, look at Epic Game Store. They have tried to be the cheaper man. They tried to do all this stuff, and they got bad PR. Regardless, Epic has all this great qualities, and my grandma's famous taco salad. They ain't getting anywhere.
You know what? Epic Games would be doing a lot better if their CEO would shut the hell up.
A lot of that came from them buying up IPs that were already linked to other services.
Well,
exactly. So basically, my opinion with the Microsoft argument is that I don't believe it. I don't think it doesn't matter what they do, because the fact is, again, I told you, they don't have good marketing identity, and a lot of people like myself who are normies, a lot of people talk to, don't have much faith in Microsoft and delivering stuff. So it's like if Microsoft came out with a console at a price, and this is my price point, I think this is $350. I could risk $350 on Microsoft. But if it's like $400 or $500, I'll see you next time. I'm gonna go here and
it definitely won't be $500.
I'll be waiting for the Xbox Series X small or whatever they just do in a year or two.
I'm still waiting for Xbox Series X Command Mission. Me and Rob are gonna get that on block, right? X Command Mission. That's what we want.
Yeah, maybe. I want to harken back to, because we had a similar conversation. I think it was a couple podcasts ago where we were talking about the price and where it would kind of fall. And I agree with a lot of what Mace is saying, is that there is a specific area where the price, not even just on a financial standpoint, on a psychological standpoint, gets to an area where people literally just say, oh, that's too much. It happens a lot, even on smaller volumes, like things where people say, oh, there's a $10 water bottle and there's a $20 water bottle. One of them has a metal outside, one of them doesn't. It keeps your water cooler, quote unquote. You're not going to spend that much money more, to get that thing, even though it might not be in comparison like a big difference. The thing with that is that, if these new consoles, I mean, the report that came out, it was reported that the cost to create the PS5, it was something like $435. Yeah, it was something weird like that. So people were saying oh, they're going to go similar to the PS4. They're going to recoup $20 per system and sell it at $470. And I was, because they said the PS4, it took it was $380 to develop and sell. So people were just saying oh, they'll sell it for $470. That. Mm-hmm. That's such an arbitrary number.
Exactly.
They're gonna want to go for an even number. They're just marketing it makes sense for you to do something that's simple and easy. It's standard stuff. It's what they did decades ago, where they started putting the 99 next to everything. So that it seems cheaper. All that kind of stuff. I feel like it's just going to fall under, we're going to get to this point where if they try to go over $500, or if they put it at $500, it's going to be so tough to sell. And they're going to need to sell it at a loss at that point. It's not even going to be about, oh, well, we know we'll recoup our losses from our services and our games. It gets to the point where it's just going to be people are not going to want to buy it, period. Because it's just psychologically, it seems like it's so much.
I agree. And that's why I'm if Microsoft is so interested in winning and dominating a market, they could just go for broke and go be the jerk off. Sell it. What's the Switch price? $250.
$299.
$299. Go Switch price. Go lower than Switch. Go ahead. Undercut Nintendo, for God's sake. Do it. Impress me. Do scumbag stuff if you're so good. That's what I'm saying.
They could do scumbag stuff, and people will still have issues with them doing that.
Well, and that's the point I'm making. To me, I don't believe that argument. No. They have to think about other things. I don't think they could do it. If they went full scumbag, will it save them? Maybe.
Well, the thing about that is the consumer even going to know that they're doing bad things? Because on a front-facing perspective, they're just going to be like, oh, okay, it's way cheaper. I should just get this one and not think anything of it. It's the same thing with Amazon,
Oh, yeah, basically. And it also depends on, like I said, their marketing, et cetera, et cetera. For example, Epic Game Store to this day still has bad marketing, which they deserve because what are you doing? What are you doing?
Do they even have marketing?
Everyone hates them. That's marketing.
Hey, that's like
yeah.
Did Connor just making it? We had another person who was supposed to be here, and
Controversy creates cash.
Controversy creates cash. Yeah,
hang on a
thanks,
second. Let me see if we can get Connor in here. It's going to mess up the stream for a second, folks. Hang on.
Yeah, get him in here.
This is going to be interesting.
Oh, shit.
Connor,
everybody move over.
Are you here, sir?
Is that working?
Oh,
hey,
I hear. There he is.
You're a little low. Speak up a little louder.
Let's try this. How's that?
It works. Hey, guys, we got a latecomer to the podcast. This is Connor. Connor, say hi.
Hello, everyone. Apologies for being late. I had to update my PC, and Microsoft decided that today was going to be the day they wanted to fuck each and every individual one of my drivers.
We talking about Microsoft.
I mean, it's Microsoft. What do you expect, mate? Like, what do you expect? It's Microsoft.
Oh boy. So, if you weren't paying attention, Connor, we were talking about the PlayStation 5 and Xbox One pricing. The news that the PlayStation 5 may run into some issues with getting the parts they need, which will jack up the price. And we were just having a friendly conversation in regards to how did we get stuck on Microsoft pricing? We were talking about the PlayStation 5 pricing. Because as you pointed out,
Sony's playing defensive by just waiting to see what the market thinks is fine, which will be Microsoft taking the initiative, the Western. And then you went on an argument saying that Microsoft is such a big, strong company with big, strong muscles and big, strong boys.
No, I don't think I said that. I said
I'm paraphrasing for Connor so you can understand.
I basically said they have nothing to lose. They can do what they want. They can price as low as they want or as high as they want.
Because they're big, strong men with big, strong muscles with a big, strong boy with the greatest mustache ever seen.
I'm not a fan of mustaches. I hate those.
This is why you'll never love NXT UK. And Mustache Mountain for life. Anyway,
it's all about the goatee. Come on.
Anyway, but all seriousness, he was going with the strength of Microsoft, them being a company in many markets. And I say that just because in many markets doesn't mean they're strong in those markets, as well as they're juggling so many things.
Well, not so much market, so much as they're in different.
And that also that could translate to how people perceive them. If they're
possibly
indifferent, what matters.
In all fairness,
it's like a perfect example is look at the current movies that are out. Right, there are a lot of bad movies that are out there right now, right? But if you look at like Jim Carrey's interview for Sonic the Hedgehog was much more passionate than any other interview we've ever seen.
We're not supposed to talk about that.
Well, no, I'm talking about it. The interview. I'm not talking about the movie. Just this interview of how passionate he was about being on this project compared to other people in other movies in the last couple of months shows that if you're indifferent or generic, no one cares about the product. If you're passionate, people go see passion. And that's the problem also. So, put it as this. That's why I don't really have faith in Microsoft. I'll see them doing it, but it's like, unless they decide to go lowball and have faith in their, software, product, and subscriptions, then yeah, they're going to be top dollar.
I don't really agree with that because you're going off the old Microsoft. You're not giving the new administration. I know how you feel about Spencer. So we're not going to talk about him.
So you say you miss the old Kanye, the sweet move Kanye, the good Kanye, not the new Microsoft. That's pretty much what you're saying. We should
Kanye? I never liked Kanye in the first place. Let's just leave it at that.
Wow. Oh boy.
There.
Ooh, controversy.
There. Just leave it at that. Yeah. Connor?
Yeah, what's up?
Anything you got to say about that one before we move off the topic into our next one? You were saying something.
I find Sony being on the defensive this time round just seems to be a bit of a mistake on their end because, let's be honest, Microsoft really did shit the bed this generation. They had so many chances, so many opportunities to make a comeback, and only near the end of the generation have they only done some stuff that's actually worth mentioning. Now, this would be the perfect opportunity for Sony to capitalize on that, go on the offensive, and not push Microsoft out of the console wars per se, but at least give themselves a stronger footing. Because if they keep waiting for Microsoft to make the first move, Microsoft can just outweight them and wait until the very end, at which point things are set in stone. They can't make any changes. So, say for example, they make a decision which Microsoft makes a better decision for. Say for example, the whole DRM and game sharing situation of last gen, where Microsoft wanted to effectively privatize pre-owned games. Now imagine if something similar happened here where Microsoft was like, oh, you know what, all our games are going to be £5 on this thing, and so it's like, oh shit, ours are still £40. But if they wait too long, they can't change it. So this isn't really the time to be, forgive my language, pussyfooting around it. You need to at least put something out there, because as far as Microsoft's concerned, we know pretty much everything about the Xbox Series X. I'm just going to call it this Xbox.
No, just call it Xbox Command Mission. That's what I call it, the Xbox Command Mission.
Xbox Command Mission. But yeah, like we don't really know anything about the PS5 yet. At least nothing concrete. We know some of the specs. We know some about backwards compatibility. But how much do we really know about how it's going to work, what it's going to do, besides, of course, play games?
Yeah, they haven't been very forthcoming.
I think it's because, much like Nintendo's the same way, they're being very defensive. It's just who they are. I think they don't want to rock the boat, because remember, Xbox 360 was one of my favorite consoles. I loved it, choice piece or whatever. And then when they came out with the Xbox Duno, I'm like, how did you crap the bed like that? And that's what they're afraid of. It's like, yes, our product is popular, people love it, we have great games, blah, blah. I don't want to ruin what's going on. Let the other guy try something, and I'll see what's going to happen. That's what I think they're doing. That, and it's Sony. They're like, all right, I guess we should make some games or something. I don't know. Do we make games? Let's just get drunk and just start partying. Like,
they have really been coasting for like the last 2 years.
I know. It's just like
it's because they didn't have any real competition. When you're in the lead and you have no competition,
sometimes you just get comfortable. You get slow. If you get slow, you get eaten.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, the law of the jungle. But it doesn't hurt that your competition shoots themselves in the foot. It's like, am I the best now?
The only reason why the PS4 was so good this generation is not because of any of the policies that Sony had. Like, they had some really good games, God of War, Uncharted 4, that sort of stuff. But the only real reason why Sony was really good this generation is because Microsoft was so shit. If it was similar to the Xbox 360 days, where Microsoft was actually quite good, because the 360 was always the underdog. It was the underpowered console. It had the best games. It had Halo. It had Gears of War. It had some of the dumbest shit that you could ever see on a console. But it worked because it was like what Sony's saying now, for the gamers. And now it's just like, we want your money. We want your money. We want your money. Oh,
they also had the best services too, right?
Yeah, I remember Xbox Live Arcade. I missed that to my life.
Live Arcade was amazing.
Yeah, that was a big thing, because I remember. I mean, you can even argue the difference that because it was paid, they were able to put more resources to it. But at the same time, it's like, the infrastructure there was much better. Like they made an actual store that you could go in and go through, and like they started bringing in Xbox Live Arcade. Like, it was just like more innovations there to actually make the store worth going to, rather than it's just a place where I can buy my games other than going to GameStop. And like, even then, like, physical games, not that prevalent at the beginning of the generation, just because storage sizes were only so much when you got the console day of. And so the services alone, like Xbox Live, like it was just insane. They took the exact momentum that they got from just the Xbox, brought it into their new generation, and it was fantastic. So they did a great job there as well.
That was the good times. Now look where they are.
Yep. And now we're just waiting to see what happens, if this is going to be a repeat or if this is going to be a little more interesting this time around.
I'm waiting for Phil Spencer to make the Xbox Command Mission Zero Command app that forces you to buy DRM games through your phone so you can play it on your console.
Well, the whole idea of like the Xbox Series X and the PS Pro has really rubbed me up the wrong way this generation. I can't speak fucking English. Generation.
And you're English.
And the fact that they've come out and said that the new console is called the Xbox Series X, which automatically implies there's gonna be more. I mean, you're dropping what, £450 or $500 and stuff like that on these consoles. You don't want to buy a new one every year. A lot of people say you buy a new phone every year. It's like, no, I don't.
No, I'm still paying off this phone. Yeah, once I finish paying off this phone till it dies, I'm getting a new one. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's it. I still have my Note 9. It's 2 years. I keep it until it's no longer worthwhile. It becomes slow, or I can afford another one. Every year, no, that's ridiculous. That's just not working. And
it's a similar thing with cross-generational releases too. I mean, Xbox has straight up coming out and said that for the next, 2 years, where they're not going to have any really exclusives between the consoles. So, I mean, it helps there too. I mean, it's really just like, I don't want to say a convenience to the folks who may not have enough money, but like, you know, it certainly helps for the people who aren't going to jump in right away, or if they just feel like there's no reason for them to, they might still wait those 2 years so that even if they do have the old console, they at least have the opportunity to play just in general. And then if they find out that they just are not interested anymore after those 2 years, then they don't have to go out and buy one. It is a nice thing when you at least put it in that perspective.
See, a lot of what Microsoft's doing quite recently is very consumer friendly, like the Game Pass, the whole backwards compatibility for 2 years. From a consumer standpoint, it's really good. From a business standpoint, it makes no goddamn sense. Like, one thing you can always give Sony a little bit of credit for is that the fact they like to dick over their customers, but at least they're making money while doing it. So Microsoft doing the games we're going to release for the Xbox Series X will work on the Xbox One is brilliant. I love the idea of it. But I don't see it being very, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't see it being a stable business practice. There has to be a bit of in between, because what people who like to yell about, this console's better, there's no such thing as brand loyalty. There shouldn't be, really.
Yeah, there shouldn't be, but
if one product doesn't exist, the other one will go downhill. Like, it's been evident at the last 2 years with Sony, because they have no real competition, they've gone a bit slow, and we've seen a lot less really good games come out, as opposed to the hard-hitting stuff we saw back in 2016 and 2017 and stuff like that, you know, where they were really trying. And if Microsoft backs out and does something else, Sony's not going to bother. They're just going to continue churning out stuff because they're the biggest kid on the block. And let's be honest, Nintendo isn't really a competitor. They're just there. Even with the Nintendo Switch going all cross-platform and third-party studio sharing, Nintendo will always do their own thing, and the only reason why they're so successful at what they do, despite some of the stuff they have been doing recently, is because they're the only one who do it. Now, Sony and Microsoft, they're doing really well. But
I think the reason why Microsoft is doing, as you mentioned earlier, is that they're trying to build goodwill. They have lost a lot of goodwill, and I mean a lot.
Oh yeah.
So it's like they're trying to build back a fan base. Yeah, people who like them. They're trying to, like, hey guys, we're cool again. We're sorry about doing Xbox. Now you have the fun box. Come back, please.
All right. Well, let's move off this. We've been on this one for quite a while.
It's been a while, yeah.
Been trying to get off this topic. It just wasn't working. All right. So let's talk about something a little less controversial. How about that? Leakers. Yay. Because we all love the leakers. So I was talking to the Nintendo guys a couple of days. Thursday, about the Nintendo catching the gentleman or the website who leaked the Pokemon Sword and Shield stuff. And Rob talked about, beginning of this podcast, there was also somebody who leaked stuff for Call of Duty. Now, I'm glad that Nintendo caught the person. I'm glad that Nintendo basically said, hey, we know who this person is. We're going to shame them by telling the world who they are, which was F Nintendo, a website, and that they're no longer going to work with them. And this has been something that has affected smaller to medium-sized outlets, especially us and a couple other people that I've talked to in the past, because what happened? A couple years ago, somebody leaked the Mario and Luigi game. I forgot what it was. Bowser or something, wherever it was, for 3 years.
Inside Story?
Yes, thank you. And Nintendo basically punished everybody, the smaller sites, and said, you know what, we're not going to really work with you like we did in the same capacity because we don't know who did this. They didn't go on the witch hunt, and everybody suffered. Of course, the bigger sites, IGN and whatnot, were fine, but the smaller sites were pretty much, and they were wiped out. We still have a hard time going to Nintendo and say, hey, we want to do XYZ if we want to work with you, and it's a crap shot. Sometimes they work with us, sometimes they won't work with us. It really depends. But I'm glad that they found this guy, because now at least it shows that they will go after you if you actually do this, instead of just punishing everybody. The whole blanket punishment is bull.
Well, a lot of people give Nintendo shit because of their policies with regards to like YouTube videos and how their content sharing goes. But to be honest, I mean, especially with recent events, they have a reason. Leakers are, quite frankly, just people who gain access to information which they have been entrusted to by the company, or sometimes through other illicit means, and then they just share it publicly when they're not supposed to. It's like, imagine if you went to someone and told, like, oh, I'm planning a birthday party for this person, don't tell them. And then the next second after you finish that sentence, they tell them, and it just ruins everything for you and that other person. It just needs to stop.
Yeah, the interesting part about it, too, is that, like, Nintendo stopping leakers and whatnot. And I'm surprised that Mason I knows about wrestling journalism. There are people who are leakers, people just make crap up. But it's like they will try to defend, like, I'm a journalist, I'm doing this. Dude, NDA, right? Non-disclosure agreement. So I'm really surprised that when this happened, I didn't hear the counter argument, we're being journalists and they're not. And I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad Nintendo, you punished the right guy. Now, please give me a new F-Zero game so I can finally respect you again.
Yeah, that's never going to happen, unfortunately.
All right, well, you tried Nintendo. You know, I'll see you in like 2025.
Well, there's always a difference between journalism and tabloidism. Like, being
yes,
a journalist means you have to work with the information which is actually worth writing about, which is worth sharing. And then being a tabloid is basically hounding someone for information that they just don't want to give you yet. If they want us to know, they'll let us know. And granted, I'm not saying blindly trust every single company out there, because, I mean, for every Nintendo and every Respawn Entertainment who wants to give us something good, you've got an EA or a Ubisoft hiding around the corner waiting to bash you over the head with a buggy game. You know, sometimes it doesn't work out, but I would much prefer to find out about something when it's ready, and rather than find out about something way earlier than you're supposed to, and then have the company scramble to create a response, most likely disrupting the development of the game itself. It just causes a circular effect where it just fucked itself.
And not only that, it's literally like, it's not even interesting information about it. It's just the fact that it exists in general is usually what people go out and say. And it's just like, you know, there's a group of people who may not believe you and stuff anyway, but still you'll just get like, it just ruins the surprise. It's like the same with, I remember during the Wii U days when Smash was still in its heyday, everybody was super excited about the next few characters or whatever. And then Ryu was going to come out alongside, I think it was Lucas who came out alongside with him. Ryu was going to come out for the game. The first time that a Street Fighter character was in Smash. Really big deal. And all of a sudden people just data mined it, found it out, saw some stuff that said Ryu, and we're like, okay, Ryu's here. And like everybody was just kind of like, okay.
Like, I don't know if anyone here plays Destiny.
Oh boy.
But the
anyone plays Destiny?
2,
I never heard this game.
The data miners in Destiny 2 are absolute scum. Like, I'm so tired of hearing about the story before it's even gonna come out. It's like, I wait months at a time for the little tidbit of story I'm gonna get. I want to enjoy it, so don't ruin it for me 5 years in advance, please.
Well, again, it comes back to everybody wanting their 15 minutes in the sun. They want that.
I tried to fucking get information about Destiny 2 out of the people that made that shit. They are tight-lipped motherfuckers, I can tell you that much.
But again, like I said, it's when you can find something out that's leaked one way or another, and you can get your 15 minutes of spotlight or whatever, or get the traffic to your site or get clicks to your YouTube video, they're going to do it. And the companies need to realize that there are people within their company, one way or another, that are leaking this information, and you need to do something about it. I mean, that's it. Outside of the Nintendo thing, outside of the Call of Duty thing, because that was basically them breaching the NDA. So the hell with them. There are people within your companies that are like, you know what, I can get away with telling this information and either sell it or leak it for fame or some other purpose that benefits them. I mean, just look at the whole PlayStation 5 screenshots. Oh, I'm just a janitor. I'm just taking pictures of the PlayStation 5. Really?
Thanks, bro.
It's not even the real PlayStation 5. Just a dev kit. It's not going to look like that. Like, you know.
Yeah. I think
so, like,
but you see how much the internet caught on fire when everybody saw the picture. They're like, oh my God, look at this. Oh, it's the PlayStation 5 dev kit. It looks so...
I think the problem is like a lot of these companies will now have to start using stronger NDAs, like as well as having better accountability and technology protection. Like, I've been to some corporate meetings in my life recently that they will take your cell phone the moment you enter the damn building because they're telling you stuff you shouldn't know. They do that to stop insider trading. They take your cell phone, take whatever it's on, drop it in this bin, we'll give it back to you when you're out, and you know, they don't even let you use pads to write information down. They just tell you, and they'll email you a pamphlet what they said. So you have to use your brain to try to memorize it. So you're going to believe three people who are – it's like telephone. You know, Connor, I, and Rob heard Nintendo said they're making F-Zero. But I didn't hear F-Zero. I heard Star Fox. Rob heard Metroid. And Connor heard F-Zero. So we don't know who's telling the truth because it took our phones and our notepads. So one of us is lying or whatever. And that's good enough.
What I said on the Nintendo podcast is I think companies start using underhanded tactics to trick these people. For example, just feed some information, leak the false information, and leak certain things, right? I told you one thing, like you said, I told you another thing, and I told Mace another thing. And wait to see which one comes out first so I know who to go after. I only told you about this, so you did it.
Yeah, basically. The thing though is like take people's stuff. It's like also.
Sorry, Matt, just to cut you off there for quick. Keith, you might remember this, with the not believe everything you read. How quickly did Josh's article about GoldenEye?
Oh my god,
that
article blew up. That's still online. That is still online. People still get pissed off about that. For those who don't understand, there was an April Fool's joke. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
It was Microsoft
might be 3 now.
It was Microsoft buying the James Bond 00 license, and I think I had told Josh to put April Fool's because people were getting really pissed off about that, even though the date was April 1st, but they weren't paying attention. Oh, people came to the site. They were not very happy about that.
But the thing is, like Josh put that up as a joke. It was up on April 1st, so it was up on April Fool's Day.
It's still there.
Other news sites took it and ran with it like it was a legitimate news piece.
Oh, fuck me.
It is still
yeah,
up there.
exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I was saying it's like disinformation. I mean, I'm going to say myself, Karl and I both know this. Wrestling's all about maintaining kayfabe, baby. So they got to keep that shit.
Kayfabe's been dead since the fucking 90s, bro.
No, I don't know what you're talking about, man. MJF is definitely real. He definitely hates Cody. I mean, when he took those whips, oof. But no, seriously, it's like, yeah, things like that. If you're willing to deceive someone that hard, you got to look at the wrestling when he used to do it.
But that's the thing, though. Like, as much as we sit here and we're like, we don't like people who leak and stuff like that, our business, like our website, needs these type of things to happen every now and again to
we
drive
don't need the
viewers.
leaks. We don't need the
Well,
leaks.
we don't need the leak. But we need the news. How do you get the news without the leaks?
Companies clearly use leaking as a method of cheap promotion. Like
Exactly.
For example,
As well as
Ubisoft
at some point
is the
it becomes
leakiest shit on the planet. And
right.
Yeah.
You cannot
Yeah.
deny that. Most likely, they are using the idea of leaks to promote.
I
their
believe
games
it.
cheaply.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wasn't it? I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Assassin's Creed Syndicate or Assassin's Creed 4 that was leaked on an airplane on an unsecured laptop. But when you saw the picture of the guy being leaked, one, he was deliberately moving or out of the way of the laptop for someone to take a picture of it, because you don't sit like that on a plane. That's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Two, like someone. Well, that wasn't taken on a phone camera because the picture's A, too high quality, and B, way too well zoomed in. So, like, there are so many ways you can tell that companies. I mean, EA,
there was what the iPhone that was accidentally
they've done that so many times.
left on
Tech
the
companies do that
barroom
all the
table. You know, that's the thing. Like, it has become a way of marketing, and it also is the way of like places like us. We need news. And sometimes without leaks, there is no news.
Yeah.
Though I feel like,
though.
in the sense of journalism, like sometimes leak could be false information or lies or just something people made up. Like again, like I mentioned wrestling. Like what's the name? Brad Shepard is a known liar. In wrestling, he actually makes up stuff and calls it news.
Like the thing is, we get news and rumors coming through. Like we have our own Discord that we use to discuss things backstage away from other people's eyes. And the amount of times that we'll get, I hear this is coming up the pipeline, and I know Keith is usually the first one to jump up and go, find me 3 sources, find me 3 legitimate sources that aren't reporting this as rumor before we go live with it.
Yeah,
I don't like most recently.
And I think a lot of places are just in such a race for clicks and everything else.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
they forget that they need to double check their sources before putting it up.
It was most recently on Twitter. It was the Street Fighter 5 for Switch thing, where it was just some random store brand from somewhere posted a bunch of photos and was like, "Can't wait for this to come out." And then it was only like minutes after, where literally like the lead of Capcom tweets at him and is just like,
Harada,
"I haven't done this."
Capcom.
It's Ono.
Yeah.
It's Capcom. Yeah.
Yeah, he's come out and he's going like, I didn't even know about this, and I'm the guy developing these things.
But that tweet was out for a couple of days before he said that, and even still, it's like people don't use common sense. This was a game funded by Sony, and they said it day one. This is going nowhere but the PlayStation. Why would you think that this is Sony?
Yeah.
They don't put their stuff on anything. Why would they put it on the Switch?
I don't know. I mean, this is my opinion. Capcom needs to make the Capcom books, and Bison Dolls ain't coming out cheap, okay? But all serious, yeah, it was ridiculous, and I think that's the problem itself. It's like, as Karl pointed out, the race for information, the race to get out there becomes like more prevalent than verifying it itself, and this is why we have tons and tons of media sites in this generation, regardless of comics, whatever, blah blah blah. It's just like it's now pretty much you the reader or person have to verify and double verify if the guy what you're reading is true, because you can go home and believe it. Oh yeah, definitely. Devil May Cry is coming out for the Switch. It's gonna have a playable, Trish naked mods and everything. I believe that.
I mean, I know we're getting off topic here, but I do want to say at the very least we do try our best to make sure that we don't put out stuff that is fake. We don't want that. We don't need a negative reputation. Nobody needs to have that crap, and we're working our asses off. It is where we are to do something like that and get knocked down. No, I'll let the other sites do that silly stuff. We're not doing that shit here.
Yeah.
We still have this thing called credibility and respect.
Yeah,
because we all know that toaster oven's definitely gonna be the PS5. My toaster oven I got back here.
What were you saying, Connor?
I've noticed that other sites are actually doing steps now to prevent misinformation. Like, I don't know if any of you ever use the site N4G or ever been there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut up about that site now.
Yeah, to put it in a polite way, it's not exactly the most organized place on the planet, but I was on there the other day sharing an article, and I noticed that there was a post that was the most popular post. It was pinned, and basically it was a user poll asking, should we allow rumors and leaks on this site anymore? Now, the vast majority of people said no, because it's starting to feel like a toxic economy where you have to be the first one to get the click on something. You have to put the most clickbaity title in order to get people to click on your article. But let's be honest, I mean, we're all quite familiar with the fact that when you're writing reviews, when you're writing news articles, people will only ever really look at the title, the score, and then they'll just move on. So you have to really put something on there which generates interest, but not something that's clickbaity. Because if you say, for example, there's a release of a new Resident Evil game coming down the line, you normally want to put something like Resident Evil 4 announced, here are the details, or something along the lines of that. But what people tend to do, which is quite clickbait, it will be like, Capcom has announced Resident Evil 4 and you will not believe what will happen on page 5 and pop up.
I hate those things. I swear I hate those things.
Yeah, and I do want to hammer home one more point before we head off this, is that the context of the leak is really important too. That makes a huge difference between what is just a rumor or what is just clickbait. Because a lot of the times people will just say, this thing exists, and then they write the headline that says, this thing exists, and it goes out and everybody clicks on it because they just see that the thing exists and they want that to exist, so they go and click on it and they read the information like, okay, great. The thing with that is that, like, a lot of the times it's just like they will take one aspect of a part of a leak that may have more, fundamental information about that will give more information. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. People will just take the most important bit or the most popular bit that they'll see, and they'll put that on the internet and say, okay, you're going to click on this because it has the keywords and has everything that you need. Like, leaks and stuff, they can be functionally good in a sense. Like we brought up the example of Ubisoft, where the context of their leaks is more important than the leaks themselves. I mean, they talk about like certain like little tidbits of stuff that's going to be in the game, not necessarily, oh, this game is coming out here, and here. Everybody get excited because you played this game before and you like it. They give little tidbits of stuff in between where it's like, okay, they're trying to drum up positivity about something that might be in the game, and it's in some cases that does work. And it's just a lot of the times, leakers of other types, not necessarily working with Ubisoft, will just put out, hey, this thing exists, and then everybody's like, okay, great, now I know it exists, I'm so happy. But like, how much are you really learning there?
The worst thing about leaks most of the time is the fact that a lot of it's just non-information.
Yes.
You ever seen a leak where it's as you were just saying, it's just something along the lines of, oh, hey, there's a new amiibo for Nintendo coming out soon. It's like, oh, great, I'll stack the bloody shelves. I'm so goddamn excited. Sometimes if you're going to leak something, at least make it interesting or something that's worth reading. I don't want to know about the leaked screenshots of Call of Duty Infinite Warfare number 275. I don't want to know about the new Pokemon in Pokemon. Like, I want to discover that sort of stuff for myself, or it's just stuff I don't really care about. But say, for example, a character who is really popular in a game series that you play is suddenly crossing over into like a new series, but he's going to be an actual active character, and I'll be like, okay, fair enough, that's interesting. I want to know how they implement that, but I don't want to know everything all at once.
Right.
I like stuff.
Yeah.
I like stuff like.
But also, at the end of the day, people have to be aware of what they click on and what they choose to read.
Are you trying to common knowledge?
Well, yeah, pretty much common knowledge, and the fact that you don't have to click on every fucking headline that you see.
But it's 5 things that's going to make you rich.
I don't give a shit if it's 5 things that's going to make you rich. If you want to click on that, that's your dumb fault. I've got better things to do than to sit there and read about somebody who got inheritance from their grandmother and then decided to put it into friggin' Apple 55 years ago.
Especially
I always hate that.
It's like a 5-sentence long story, but it's spread over 10 pages, and each paragraph is just a repeat of the fucking last one.
Pretty much.
Stock photos in between,
Yeah, 10,000 ads in it and everything else because, go get that revenue. But, it's the same thing. Like, I say this for game spoilers. I say this for movie spoilers and everything else. It is your choice to read it. If you want to read it, you can't complain that you've read it. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who is making a conscious decision to click on that headline, to view that story. If it clearly says spoilers or leak or something, you make that choice. If you're going to bitch and complain about it, then shut the fuck up. Because if you don't like, and a lot of people are going, in this day and age, you can't avoid these type of things. Bullshit. You can block keywords on Facebook, Twitter, everything else. The amount of times I had to block Star Wars out of my feeds leading up to the movies, been there, did that every time. Mind you, at the end of the day, I read the entire script on Reddit, but that was only because of the last one I didn't really give a fuck about. But I now look at Sonic the Hedgehog's just come out. It's been out for what, 2-3 days?
Oh, so good.
I jump on YouTube, Sonic the Hedgehog review. I get bombarded with them.
Yeah.
I see the Sonic movie hashtag on Twitter. I block it. I don't click on any of the reviews. I don't click on any articles to do with Sonic right now because I don't want to be spoiled. I make that choice to avoid the leaks, to avoid the spoilers, because I want to still be surprised. The biggest problem with a lot of this is people who believe that they were conned into or cannot avoid these things. You can do it if you have a fucking brain in your head.
You can also dig deeper, too. Because, if you find out that one person says this thing's coming out, why wouldn't you just reverse Google search it? See if everybody else is talking about it. That's something that I do a lot. If I hear about something, I go and look around, see who else is talking about it. That's a really big, important factor of that, too. So.
Yep. Any news story that you can perceive as a rumor, chuck it into Google, try and, like we do when we try to verify something, find multiple sources. If you can find at least a minimum of 3 to 5 sources, then you probably have a higher chance of it being correct than incorrect.
In all fairness, though, a lot of the time, the people who write these sort of articles, they have no passion for what they do. They're just
no passion. Yeah.
Oh, fuck no! They're sitting there at BuzzFeed getting paid $20 an hour to create a fucking list of 10 things that you saw back in the 80s that would make you go, oh.
All right.
Don't even get me started.
Let's move on.
Do you remember this shit? Because it's like, yeah, I remember Sonic the Hedgehog. It came out, 10, 12 years ago? There are people still alive who've seen it, mate.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Like, I know we're about to move on, but with that type of thing, I called out Kotaku recently doing it. They're notorious for it. They pulled an article out from 2015 where they were complaining about Sonic. Was it Sonic 06, the one that had the human female in it?
That was
They pulled out that article that literally had the headline of saying, "We are obligated to remind you that Sonic tried to date a human female." And it was the exact same article that it still had the same published date of 2015 on it. They just amended a little bit at the top saying, because the new Sonic movie is coming out, we are obligated to remind you of this article. And it's like, really?
Bruh.
Like, I know evergreen content's a thing, but that's just stupid.
It's like, mate,
It's
no
like,
one has forgotten that. No one has forgotten that at all.
All right, we're done. We're moving on to the next one. All right, timestamp this one. This one is 109. All right, so how many of you guys have been paying attention to the gaming scene lately and noticed a game from Square Enix coming out, or has been talked about, Outriders, which is another third-person co-op looter shooter game with RPG elements in it?
I saw it. I love it. It looks good. It looks good. It reminds me of Borderlands. And Borderlands is not doing
Excuse me
good
while I
right now.
take a fucking nap.
Got me excited.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I don't want to talk about Outriders itself. I want to talk about I think this genre is being overused to hell and back now.
Oh, this
We've
genre
got
needs
the
to bloody
Division,
die
we've got the
quickly.
Division 2, we've got Destiny, we've got Anthem,
Got
we've
Borderlands.
got Borderlands. I know there's a couple of games I'm completely forgetting, and it's like everybody and their mom now is doing this type of game.
Yeah.
They're oversaturating the market.
The thing is, though, like, I don't get why so many developers are making this kind of game as well. Because when you think about it,
Because it's
only two
popular.
of this type of game have ever really succeeded. Borderlands and Destiny. The Division had a blip of interest, but it didn't last long. Anthem, well, that was Anthem.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that's come out recently, Remnant from the Ashes, or something along the lines of that. That was
That was more of a
popular, but then forgotten.
it's more of a Dark Souls with guns. It actually worked out pretty good.
Well,
That's what it was.
Take a look at history. Whatever is popular will get duplicated up the arse. You know, in the 90s it was fighting games. We had fighting games coming out of the Yazoo. You know, we had Street Fighter, Tekken, Dead or Alive, friggin' King of Fighters, Fatal Fury, all that stuff. You know, when things like Call of Duty started to become popular as a shooter, you know, we had first person. Everybody had a first person shooter.
Everyone had a World War II first person shooter.
And then you had, you know, look at some of the more recent trends. You know, Fortnite and PUBG brought in the fact of the battle arena. Suddenly, everybody had a battle royale simulator.
Yep.
Yeah, and now it seems that now the flavor of the moment seems to be looter shooters. So everybody is now jumping on that too.
Which I'm surprised people aren't. I'm surprised people aren't jumping on the. Oh, sorry.
No, Connor he's a little low, so
I couldn't hear him.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, I'm surprised Cliffy B isn't taking notes and figuring out which genre to jump on next.
You know, he did mention he wants to come back out.
Radical Heights wasn't that bad of a game, actually.
In all fairness, neither was Lawbreakers. I just feel like they both got a bad rep because they came out a bit too late for their genre. And a lot of people were comparing Lawbreakers to Overwatch. And to be honest with you, Blizzard's name has meant nothing to me for a long time now, purely because I enjoyed Overwatch to an extent, but it was just another first-person shooter to me. There was nothing too special about it. Whereas Lawbreakers, I had this whole gravity-defying shit, and it had like a lot of fun elements to it. It reminded me a lot of Titanfall 2 and how people compare that to Call of Duty and Battlefield. It was like, yes, they're both first-person shooters, but one is clearly a lot better made than the other one. But because this one came out later and from a smaller studio, you don't give a shit.
Yeah, and it's
a damn shame.
Same with everything else. You know, when World of Warcraft hit it big, how many MMOs did we have come out?
Oh man,
some of them were actually clearly superior to World of Warcraft, but
Let's
they didn't
count.
catch on because they weren't the first one.
So we had Warcraft, we had Rift, we had Terra, we had that. What was it? Warhammer Online.
Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2, which is still alive, surprisingly.
Yeah.
We had
Star Wars.
Final Fantasy 11.
The Matrix Online.
Matrix Online.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Tried to make
Camelot Unchained, I think that was a game.
EverQuest? Was EverQuest before?
EverQuest was before.
That was before.
Yeah. EQ was before. EQ was the grandfather of online MMOs.
Okay, good.
There was a bunch of other ones, but yeah, they all disappeared, with the exception of a couple of them.
Yeah.
Oh boy! And just to go back to what Connor mentioned, I agree with him 100%. Titanfall 2 was an amazing game. Was an amazing single player game that everybody who loves first person shooters should play. But they didn't get that chance.
And that's the thing. Like, a lot of these games do come out, and they either come out too late or something isn't right with them. Like Evolve. Like,
I love that. I love that game.
Great in concept, but unfortunately, the player base didn't take it up, and even when it went to being a free game, it just like the microtransactions killed that. When they went to a free game,
the
there
business
was no
model
more
killed
interest.
In all fairness, though, like the publisher shit the bed on that one because Evolve was announced through a season pass advert. Like, who does that? Like, it's the idea of pre-release content and pre-release season passes is already bad enough, but to have that as the front-facing element of your game just basically screams your intentions off the bat as like, we made a game, but we don't care. We just want your money. And people are starting to catch on to this now, especially with microtransactions going into the courts and being considered legal and stuff like that, and loot boxes. You know, people are getting genuinely sick of it because we just want to be able to pay for a product and have that product. I mean, it's such a novel concept these days. But I remember, like, I'm not particularly old myself. I'm only 23. I still remember the days where you could buy a game, and that was the game. Broken or not, you could still play it. Nowadays, it's like, okay, you can pre-order the game to get some pre-release content. You can get out your spreadsheet to figure out which versions of Watch Dogs you want to bloody buy.
Yeah.
You can, go to this outlet, get this, and you get this specific skin. You can buy this game, or the deluxe edition, or the super deluxe edition, or the gold deluxe edition. It's like, just sell me the goddamn game. If you want to add all this content in it, and it's costing you more to make it, charge £80. See how well that bloody does for you.
It's kind of insanity. And then one thing is I'm surprised is that a lot of these games that's popular they're hoarding out is because obviously they make like looter shooters. I'm surprised that one particular game genre that I've been enjoying, re-enjoying lately is the roguelike games. I'm surprised we ever hoard out roguelike games. All you do is make a game unbeatable, add some stupid equips, and run. I'm surprised that's not being hoarded out, but it's just crazy.
Don't say that because we had a point. We did have a point where there were a lot of roguelites.
Yeah, but it stopped.
Yeah, it stopped because some of them were really bad.
Oh yeah,
there will always be bad like parts of a genre, but I think the only reason why roguelikes didn't get hoarded out as much as like other genres is because it actually took quite a bit of skill to balance that type of game.
Yeah,
like going back to Destiny again, like it's a first-person MMO looter shooter online multiplayer game.
Yeah.
Now the story and PvE aspects of it are great; they're fine. But the balancing in the multiplayer is so beyond fucked that it makes no sense as to why they still keep it going.
We were talking about
always manages to come up every single podcast. It always comes up, doesn't it?
Let's put it this way. Keith didn't believe us last episode. That's hand cannon meta. He logs in, gets aced of spades to the dome.
No, I was saying before I was doing great, and then I got into like several games where it was just like everybody and their mom was using hand cannons, and it's like, wait, I'm across the freaking map. The whole point of scout rifles versus hand cannons was scout rifles, you have a good distance to take care of somebody using a hand cannon. But the motherfucker is across the map and kills me with 2 shots with a hand cannon.
Now, you don't like the Crimson?
You like the Crimson?
He's like, excuse me. That was the whole point of having the rifle.
What? Just count yourself lucky that you weren't around during the trace rifle meta. That
I was. I was around.
God.
Worst. Like, I think so far the trace rifle meta is probably the worst because they were broken. Like, there was no way around it. Like, I don't care how much Reddit gold you got.
How much Reddit gold you got?
Oh, like, have you been to the Destiny subreddit? It's just like, oh, hunters are underpowered, and then you got like 50 posts from someone who's like, no, you just bad the game, no, you just suck. It's like One-Eyed Mask isn't OP. It's like, calm down.
What One-Eyed Mask? It was just at one point was the win factor. It was just win. Like just call it one win, not one eye, just one win.
But yeah, God. Kind of back to the little diversion I actually got us on. The whole idea that there are like subgenres of these like popular games going around, like poor adaptations of it. To be honest, from what I've seen of Outriders, it does just look like a poorly made version. Like, the gameplay looks solid. I mean, the visual aspect of it, the visual style looks kind of last gen, and the gameplay does look a bit stilted. It's got like that old Gears of War 2 kind of jankiness vibe to it, which I personally kind of loved in Gears of War 2. I love Gears of War 3. I'm not a big fan of the more recent ones because they're a bit too, I know it's going to sound stupid, but they're a bit too fluid for me. But People Can Fly is a studio that I've come to trust over the years because they make good games. Like, they made Bulletstorm, which is highly underrated.
Oh God, I'm still waiting for that sequel, man.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that sequel. They made
Yeah, it's
Gizmo
not
Judgment,
happening.
which was not particularly good. They made some changes that made no sense, but as a game, it still functions a lot better than half the shit that gets pumped out these days. But my only concern is that the publisher, Square Enix, has a long history of sticking their nose in where it doesn't belong. Like Deus Ex.
Oh, I knew you were
that
gonna bring that up.
series was meant to become the greatest franchise of this generation. Deus Ex Mankind Divided. The game we got is still relatively decent.
Stuff
But
with
it's half a fucking
microtransactions.
game.
Yep.
And microtransactions in a single player game still boggles my mind to say, oh, you can buy skill points.
Yeah.
You can buy skill points.
I guess I'll just win the game now.
It's like, it's pay to win, but when you're not even competing.
Yes.
And I'm just fully aware, like The Quiet Man. Does anyone actually remember that?
No, I do not.
Oh,
Doesn't ring a
yeah.
bell.
Like Square Enix developed a game. I can't remember who they developed it with. I think it was Eidos, where it was called The Quiet Man. It was about a guy who was deaf, and it was like an action fighting game. And the concept was really interesting. And then we heard nothing about it. And then one day, it's there, and it's absolutely fucking dreadful. Absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, I remember that.
I just got a feeling Square Enix is going to do with this, because from what I've seen of Outriders so far, like, granted, this game is meant to come out later on this year, so potentially what we see right now isn't the complete build, but what we see right now, if that's not the complete build, they are nowhere near finished enough for a 2020 release date.
See, the problem I had with this game, and I don't want to write it off just yet, but going back to my original argument, there are too many of the same type of game on the market right now, and I don't really see anything from all the previews and all the videos and people talking about it. I don't see anything that really separates it from, again, the Division 2s or the Destiny 2s or the Borderlands 3. There's nothing in it that screams, play me. I love the aesthetics. I love the art direction. I think that's all cool. I love the whole idea of we're on this different planet now and we have to leave humanity behind and we're going to do this and do that, do this. Great. But what I've seen so far shows me nothing. All I see is another generic co-op shooter.
See, and that's the thing too. And even to an extent, some of the stuff, the aesthetics that you may have even liked, I don't think it separates it from everything else that's on the market. It still looks like your Anthem if you were to take it and dumb it down a little bit. It still got those muddy textures. Things are kind of rustic, but like it's just plain. You know what I mean? Like all of the clothes that I saw in the previews and stuff that a character can get and equip on their clothing, like there's brown, gray, some armor pads and stuff, maybe some cool pants that look like the khakis you had earlier. You know,
that's like the core problem with all looting type of games. Like there are so many looting games out there, but the loot that you get in them is absolute dog shit.
Exactly.
Like,
you have to be
one. You kill a really hard boss, a proper bullet sponge that takes 2 hours to kill, and you get a purple beanie. It's like, well, slap my ass and call me Shirley Bassey. Thank you very much, Ubisoft.
Pretty much, man.
Why would I want
pretty
that?
much, yeah. And I think the problem too is that, like, in hacking slash games like Diablo, Warcraft, Torchlight, killing a boss and getting some legendary like sword or weapon to stomp other dudes is cool. I don't understand how some looter shooters don't get that. Give me the cool stuff because I killed something.
Yeah,
don't give me just don't give me a pistol with an extra bullet.
Yeah, and a lot of excuses that the developers try to make is like, oh, like there's thousands of different items in this game. Trying to make an individual skin for each one of them will be nearly impossible. It'll be expensive. Well, if you're going to charge me microtransactions on top of this with your shitty loot system and your shitty microtransactions, the very least you can do is give me some decent stuff.
Exactly.
Like,
and the worst part about it too. Yeah, the worst part about it, it's like, how could you get, like, we have millions of guns. No, you just have one gun reskinned 50 times.
Season of Opulence, more like Seasons of the Reskin.
God! Come on.
The worst for me is, like, the drip feed and the rate from which loot can drop to. Because even if you were to take Destiny 2 and, say, get rid of some of the stuff that's in your blue engrams and just stick with all legendary stuff, like, even then, a lot of the Vanguard stuff is just, I take an orange gun, and I put a V on it, and it is now a Vanguard weapon.
Yes.
And it's a reskin of a blue gun that you could have got earlier in the game that just has no other physical texture changes. They just put the symbol and the color on it and call it a day, you know? And not even that. It's just like some of the cooler stuff that is in Destiny 2. There's a lot of really cool exotic engrams and weapons and armor that you can get that all are very unique, distinct. They look really cool. You can color them differently. You can buy ornaments for them that look very distinct and different. But it's so few and far between. And even when you do get something, it's not something that you want or need. And like, then you have to wait years. Like, think about if you were to try and get exotics just out of PvE. Say you don't like PvP at all. You don't like that type of game. You go and try and play PvE to try and get exotic engrams. Do you know how much longer that's going to take you to get anything worth a dang? Like, it's going to take forever, and the stuff that you will get, you're not going to want. You're just going to be disappointed and be like, I wasted all this time.
It's that, like, for example, in Borderlands, and I love that game like crazy. I'm waiting for another DLC.
Do you still play Borderlands 3?
There's a new event happening right now. The max level went up by 3, and I think there's a hard event to get like extra skin for guns or something. I gotta check that out when I have a chance. I've done it yet, but yes, I still play Borderlands 3. But it's like in Borderlands, at least all the guns look distinct, and the drop rate isn't that bad. You could get all. It's like you have a heavy drop rate, and you get all the weapons, you want to kill everything. But it's what it is, and I think that's a problem. A lot of these action loot games, because hack and slash count too. A lot of the bad ones, or the ones that are just trying to get your cheddar, just don't know how to balance loot, and the guns look like crap. While the ones that are really good kind of sometimes give too much.
Well, it's like the looter shooter genre isn't particularly new. Like Borderlands is considered the first one, but funny enough, Borderlands is still, as far as I'm concerned, the only one that's gotten the loot right.
Yeah.
They granted, if you tried to put the loot system in Borderlands into a game like Destiny or another PvP game like The Division 2, it would potentially cause problems, because if everything's randomized, there's no balancing. But at the end of the day, if everything's randomized, everything's always interesting. You don't get metas, you don't get that sort of thing. So ditch the whole, like, you can still have your exotics, you can still have your
big drops, kill this boss, you get it. Yeah,
exactly.
Like, give us some interesting stuff in between, because I don't want to pick up another just another blue weapon which is literally identical to every other weapon that I picked up, but it's just got one extra point. And it's the same reason why Assassin's Creed went downhill quite quickly. Not Odyssey, the one before it, Origins. When Origins came out, when they changed the formula to the biggest number means you do better, it's like, no, I prefer the days when it used to be just I'd run around as stab as many guards I could and just have some fun with it. You know, don't change a genre to fit a trend. Create the trend.
Right.
All right.
And I will say, to Destiny's credit, and now this will be the last thing on it, but they do have some exotics and stuff that have quest lines, things you have to do that are unique to that weapon or armor. Like the Last Word, as much as you hate it for PvP, the mission to get it is actually kind of cool, because you then have to go to this dark cavern to actually retrieve it back from the lore of which it gets like lost or whatever. But you have to go back and get it, and it forces you to do this quick draw event where like the enemy will spawn, and you have to shoot them at a specific timing, or it kills you immediately, one shot, and you have to like do it over again. It has like a cool, unique event to it that you have to like actually work towards before you actually get it. And that stuff also kind of makes the drip feed aspect of it or anything like that makes it better, because you actually work for it.
The depressing thing about Bungie right now is that you can tell there's still some really good talent there. Like, there are some missions that you do, like the Whisper of the Worm, the one you do for Outbreak Perfected. I can't remember what it's called. Escalation? No, it's not Escalation Program.
I've not done that still.
But like, some of the quest lines and some of the stuff that you do are really fascinating. And if they put that stuff front and center, if they created more, because a lot of the more interesting missions don't actually revolve around the usual shooting and stuff like that. It mostly revolves around abusing the physics of the game or being quite clever with it. So if they make more stuff like that, Destiny 2 could easily, well, it's dominating its field right now, but that's because it's the only one, really.
I mean, other than that, Destiny 2. The Division 2,
yeah. Like, the Division 1, I played a lot of it. I relatively enjoyed it, but again, it was one of those games, I was, actually a bit of a side story, I was one of those idiots that bought, like, the £150 version, which came with a watch and all the shit, because I automatically assumed it was going to be good. I was an idiot with more money than sense. I'll never do that again. But, Like I did play
Well, I
it,
mean,
probably out of spite.
most of us played it. Most of us here. I mean, Mason and I played it. We loved the first one. It had its rough patches. It did bad for a while, but then towards the end of the game, it did better. The Division 2 was largely a disappointment. Largely.
See, that was the thing that really confused me about it because I still haven't played the Division 2, so I can't really talk about it. But when I finished playing the Division 1, the thing that kicked me out of it was the PvP aspect. The PvP to begin with was total cock salad.
The Dark Zone, the Dark Zone were
I
bad.
heard from a lot of people that the Division 2 was really good, and I did always think about buying it, but it's one of those games where you look at it and you think to yourself, I would be interested.
And you still get it for $3?
Yes, you still can
pay for it, that sort of thing.
If you're gonna get it now. It's cheap.
He just said he doesn't want to pay for it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't want it.
Is it even
Keith,
worth $3? That's the thing.
Keith, give the man £5.
The game is worth $3. The game is worth $3. I will say
I bought
that.
it, so
The campaign is worth the $3.
And when it gets down to it, there are so many different publishers and developers releasing this type of game, but these games are time costly. So if you oversaturate this market, no one's going to play your damn game because they're too busy playing the other one. It's the only reason why World of Warcraft is still as popular as it is because it was first, it did the best to begin with, and no one else can be asked to start something else because that means leaving that behind. Which is why even if something better than Destiny 2 comes along, it's still going to be top dog because at this point it's got a 4-year head start. Or is it 5 now? But it's got like a 5-year head start, and no one's going to jump off that to jump onto something else, or unless it's the second coming of Christ.
See, me on a personal level, I'm itching to get into Borderlands 3.
Really?
I finally got the damn thing working. Finally, you want to know what it took? Taking that goddamn NVIDIA card out.
Really?
Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, so you don't have it anymore, or
I've got it for another about 3 days. It's being sent back to NVIDIA after like 13 months of being in my computer. Oof. But the thing is, like, it crashed. The game crashed every time I tried to boot it up on the NVIDIA card. I put my old AMD in, which is like a Radeon. I think it was like R3 or something. Like it's an old card, needs to be replaced, and it ran the game at medium settings perfectly.
all right? You know what?
So now I'm like, I need to play Borderlands now.
Well, it's technology.
We're gonna-
That's when it does.
we're gonna go ahead.
Want to.
We're gonna finish off with this topic. I did want to ask Matt a question because we're at an hour and 30 minutes. So holy crap! I'm going to say this game wrong, but you know what I'm talking about because I've been thinking about picking it up. Is it Warsen? How do you pronounce the name of that game?
Warshen.
Have you played it? You've talked
Not
about
yet,
it,
but it's on my list, and I want to get it.
Yeah,
it looks good. It looks so far the reviews on Steam are mixed, but based on other play, it looks like something I would play because I love action loot games. I love hack and slash games. I have to get more into that. And
what is that? It's all
Karl,
blue.
please stop with the sponsorships, okay?
Are you
stop?
crying?
We're not sponsored by Gen 4's RTX. Those days are gone. We're only
We're actually
NVIDIA now.
sponsored by Audible.
Yeah, we're sponsored by Autumn. Yeah. I mean, I want to get sponsored by Pringle Wavy Chips. Pringles Wavy Jalapeno Chips, the best chips in the game.
But no, let's get back and talk action RPG because I'm also really interested in this. I was a big fan
too.
Yeah,
I want to give it a try. I personally, it's worth $40. I think right now on Steam. They had an early. I think it's worth $40. Let me check on Steam right now. To Steam time. Checking on Steam.
Because I've been looking at a couple of streamers play the game, and I'm like, wow, this does look very interesting. Yeah, it's $40.
It's $40. Yeah, it's $40 on Steam. Yeah, and I think personally, I would wait till it drops to like 25 or 20. As Rob pointed out earlier in the podcast, the psychological point. This could be a $40 game in reality, but Steam has always taught me buy it cheap.
Or Steam sale. Yeah.
Steam sale. Yeah, buy it cheap.
Steam sales aren't even that good anymore either. So
no, they're not.
It depends
how
long.
I was about to say, Steam can still do sales.
Yeah, they still do it. Yeah, it depends. Like
they're shit.
It depends. Like if you play a bunch of like smaller indie company games, I cleaned out. And come on, would you? Hades for $20 versus its original price of like $34 or is it $24.99? That's a good deal.
So if I'm in the market for a good action RPG, I know a couple of them, but I'm asking you that since you seem to be the resident guru on this one. What would you recommend? If anybody asked you right now, which action RPG should they play?
I would recommend if you're going to spend $0 and have a lot of time, Path of Exile. If you want to spend no money and play for free, Path of Exile. It's on your consoles and it's on. And it's on your console and it's on your computer. So that's one. If you want to drop some bones, I would probably recommend Victor Frand. This Grim something. I think Grim Dawn of her is pretty good. I would also recommend.
I've played that game a while ago.
Yeah, I would also and like I said, if you're on the cheaper side of things, I also recommend Torchlight 2 and 1. They're both playable. They're still playable to this day. I recommend them.
I will not. Let me stop you right there. I just want to say one thing to you. Torchlight 3 is fucking amazing.
Oh yeah. That's trust me. I'm already. They got praise you, but it's already happening. I would not recommend Diablo 3 because it's just I don't recommend.
Yeah,
it.
Just don't.
That was a regardless of all the politics of the game, blah blah. Even in its final form, game still looks botchy, so I don't recommend it. And it sucks because it's such a great franchise. So I wouldn't recommend Diablo 3 unless it's free. You get it for on the cheaps.
We need to say that it's been 5,579 days since Jax 3.
Yes,
because Austin wants to remind us about that.
Still waiting for Naughty Dog to make another Jack game because
that is not happening, my brother. Naughty Dog always leaves their properties when they finish it, and that's the one thing I respect and hate about them.
I do love them for it. I love the fact that they don't drive franchise into the ground. Looking at you, Halo, but
wow,
I so want.
I know. I would love to see the future of that world. Who's a new? Maybe get a new hero.
Even Jack X. That game was fucking sick.
Oh, that was. I didn't
love that game.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing it out. It is. I didn't know that because it's does he get with Kira or the Baroness? Oh, I guess it's Kira, so I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know Jack X was canon. It was. Oh. I kind of wish they continued that story, but again, once they leave a franchise, it's in the air.
I'm going to say this as often as I can, but the true tragedy about a franchise that has yet to return yet is Freedom Fighters has not had its sequel come out since 2003, and that game deserves to come back. That franchise deserves to come back. It was so cool, and they dropped it like a rock, and I'm sad. Anyway.
If any franchises come back, it's Soul Reaver. I'm still...
oh God, yes, Soul Reaver.
You know what? This is what we're going to do the next podcast. The next podcast, all the games that we want to that need to come back out, we're going to talk about those games. That's it. The entire podcast is just that.
I'm gonna gush about Freedom Fighters for at least 20 minutes.
Life? Oh God, let's bring back the good Golden Axe. Oh boy, but still, I would recommend those action RPGs, and I think it's a good genre to play. I think that action RPGs stimulate a lot of the the current modern MMO experience of just go around, waste stuff, and don't talk to people. It's fun, and you can do that and get loot without talking to people, so that's cool. But I think the action RPG it still feels kind of niche, and I think it's getting kind of flooded right now because it's there's a lot of them, and I haven't even they've touched some of the indie stuff yet, so it's whatever. Relic Hunter Legend is still being produced. It's still in an alpha stage, and I've been playing that since I kickstarted it, so it's a lot.
Yep, there's a lot. Victor Vran is also a pretty good one. I'm pretty sure
Victor,
you played that.
Yeah,
that was a good one too. Yeah. So next podcast we're going to talk about games that need to come back out because I think you guys won't stop talking about that. We've reached the end of our show. I have nothing else to talk about. We did not talk about Activision and GeForce Now because you know what? It wasn't really relevant, so that's fine.
Wow,
it wasn't.
I can give you some random fighting game news about DQ Sage got third place after an emotional way he lost, and in the Dragon Ball Finals. He was a good player. DQ Sage from New York, respect you, brother. Skullgirls for life. I'm just bummed out the way he lost because he lost to Goichi with the super that he probably not intended to do. We got punished and died. But and then he got 3-0 by Fenreedy, and it was this is bonus. And
I saw that match.
And Fenreedy is a top player, but he's kind of a weirdo because I've heard stories that he will lose on purpose only to bop someone else he hates. He's weird. I heard, but I don't know if it's true or not. So I'm not confirming because again, I'm not a journalist. Whatever. Don't please blow up. Anyway, why would you interview a guy after he loses a tournament. Why?
Ooh, that's the worst.
I
Never
know.
do
He just
that.
was
So
like
bad.
he's already in tears of pain. Like that was the stupidest thing he ever did. But shout out to him getting third place, proving he's the top player, finally leaving, that shadow that he was Sonic Fox's training partner, proving he's a top player. At least on a global scale, because I knew he's a top player. A lot of people know him as a top player, but he's finally proving he's a top player, at least to many people, rather than people who know who he is, and that's good for him. So shout out to him. So I'm happy for him, and I'm looking forward to Grand Blue Fantasy whenever it gets released.
Tell me about it. I haven't played a fighting game in a while, and I'm actually looking forward to it. I've been looking at a lot of the clips on Twitter. People are loving it.
The game looks good. I mean, there's even memes about it. Like Grant's Tatsuko and Soko Bag, we call it the Tims, because that boot beats almost everything. Throwing Tims at you, man.
I don't think I'm ever going to play the game online.
No. Japanese games in the netcode are not good. They need to get rollback netcode. That's been a problem at FGC for years. Like getting them to just use it,
Speaking of netcode, Capcom's fixing it finally.
Well, yeah, after a fan actually did it for them, so it's not really a fix. Just take his idea.
Somebody tell Nintendo that. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway.
You want rollback netcode for Smash?
Nintendo has a fight game? Which one?
yeah. But seriously, Smash people want rollback netcode? Is netcode really that awful for Smash? Is it worse than like other fighting games bad? Or is it like at
yes, it's worse. It is worse.
It's underwater. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got a strong local scene.
Yeah.
The Smash netcode is quite irritating because, like, 1 versus 1, it's relatively fine. The moment you introduce another person into it, it's just completely downhill. There's no incremental downhill. It's just stop motion Lego movie on YouTube.
Yeah, doubles is unplayable. Teams is unplayable online in any form.
Which is
even 1v1s. Like, if you're playing a super serious match, like, even if you both are wired in and you both have a gigabit connection, you can still have like the worst lag possible, and it's not your fault.
Like Nintendo, if your netcode's going to be shit, that's fine. But now that you're charging for your online services, that shit can't fly anymore.
Oh, I agree. I think I also think the problem too is like a lot of Japanese people, like particularly for fighting games, that we have learned and seen the eras of the proof. Rollback netcode is really good. It's not the best, but it's really good for certain games. If you notice, Garu Marco the Wolves actually introduced it to their port for the PS4 and Vita and PC version. It's amazing. Sam Show 5, Samurai Showdown 5 Special, which is one of the best Sam Show games, has rollback netcode. It plays like a dream. What you call it? People feel like, what was it, Hyper Fighting? Skullgirls have rollback netcode, I believe, but it plays great. And I think that's the rollback netcode is the future for fighting games, particularly for fighting games. And it shows how Japan is still against it for some reason because we invented it. Screw you, just use it. God.
All right, folks. We have come to the end of this very, very long episode of Spectator Mode, but I love when we have these kind of conversations. An hour and 42 minutes. That is our longest show ever. So,
and it's episode 50, so that's a milestone right there. 50th episode.
There we go.
Yeah,
and many more to go. So thank you for watching. Thank you for stopping by. South Memphis, thank you for stopping by and talking with us. It was always fun, man. We'll see you again next Saturday. Next Saturday, I think, will be the last one, unless one of you gentlemen want to pick up the show, because after that would be Rob and myself, and Andrew will be at PAX East. We're not sure if we're going to do one at PAX East or not. We got to figure it out because of bandwidth constraints.
I mean, just get a wireless card. Just get one of those, internet.
We can record one too.
Boston Wi-Fi, the air is shit. It is
no. I'm talking
about
get your own like T-Mobile free.
I had it. That's what I did. Okay. Every year I go to Boston with my phone, I tether it, and it's garbage. That area is terrible. Sorry, Rob.
Unless you have AT&T.
Wait, Rob, you're in Boston? Boston?
Well, no, technically not.
Okay. Oh, thank God! I'm in Harlem.
I'm in a nearby state.
Okay, I would have been deeply upset if you're from Boston.
No, I'm not from Boston, dude.
Yeah,
All right, folks. We'll talk to you next week. Later.